Hi again. So, over the next while I'm going to post a few videos about my experiments in methods of firing the boiler. And you know, this is not going to be a scientific comparison. For a start, the arrangements for firing the burner setups I'm going to use are going to be very provisional and will therefore probably not accurately reflect the finished items. But what I'm hoping is that over the next while to try a good range of different fuels, just to get a feel of how they perform before I can start to make final decisions. My intention though is to move towards a situation where I can use different fuels at different times and have different detachable kind of firebox setups, a little bit modular maybe, but without getting too complicated. Anyway, today, to start off with, I'm going to try good old methylated spirits. Now, you know, I get the feeling that meth is a kind of unfashionable fuel for small steam boilers and engines these days. I might be wrong about that, but that's the feeling I get. Maybe it's because of the association with toy steam engines like Mamod. I remember when I was a kid running a little Mamod steam engine with a little kind of pan-shaped meth burner in it. It seemed to produce a very hot flame anyway, I recall. So I'm going to try this. There's the sort of jellyfish looking structure. It's made from the cut off end of a small Oxymap portable oxygen cylinder. Do not try to cut one of these off unless you're sure it's empty. And I've got the wicks there, which I bought yesterday, and I'm going to put the meths into the tin, and then I'm going to put, just for safety and stability's sake, I'm going to put that inside this proto burner, which is made of a part of a water pipe, more of which you may see as we progress. And then, you know, the boiler's going to sit on top of that old frame for a wickerwork stool, so that when I want, because the boiler's not going to be connected up to the pump, it's going to be freestanding again, it's already half full of water, so that I can simply move the burner out of the way when the boiler starts to boil. So I'm going to switch off the camera now and get this all set up, and then I'll get back to you when we're ready to go. So it'll be interesting to see how much mess this takes, assuming that it will steam the boiler at all. The mess is at this moment in time up to the top line of the can, so there's loads of mess in there. I'm just hoping that these wicks don't displace too much of it up. I'll put them in slowly and hopefully they'll soak up rather than displace over the edge of the tin. But it's at the top line of the can, so at the end of this we'll be able to put the burner out and then see what we're left with. Just in case I haven't made it obvious already, I did drill 4 holes in the dome-shaped steel cap there, just in case you thought that it was the wicks were coming out of something that was already in the cylinder, the gas cylinder. And any adjustments I need to make today, I'll use these forceps to make them with pulling the wicks up, pushing them down. It's kind of crude, but you know, it's alright for a trial, I think. I've got my old manky gloves. Well, that's off to a flying start. The wicks didn't hardly displace any of the meths. They just soaked it up, and already it's burning pretty authoritatively. I'm wondering if it's burning a bit too authoritatively, because I sort of recall that a meth flame should be bluer than that, but having said that, it doesn't look like it's smoky or sooty, and it is going to put out a fair old bit of heat, so I think I'm just going to go with that and see what happens today. Back in a minute or two. And basically we're off. So a 3-inch boiler heating up on a crude methylated spirits burner, and on a very makeshift testing rig. As I say, these are not laboratory conditions. There's a gap between the flame and the boiler, for example, but I think it should give me an idea. Bear in mind that it's already been tested on gas. It's direct from a propane cylinder, so I don't feel I need to do another gas test. It heats up pretty effectively on gas, and of course with a ceramic burner and gas it would heat up even more effectively, so I'm not going to retest it on gas. I'll say it's already been tested. But one of my principles, if you like, is that I want to keep it as low-tech as possible. The less pressurised cylinders I have to buy, the less electric blowers I have to use, etc., etc., the better. So when it comes to testing it on solid fuel, I'm going to try and be a bit creative and innovative about how I fire it. But more of that later. Meanwhile, we'll see how this is doing. I'm a wee bit concerned about the way that the flames are licking around the edge of the boiler, but I don't know if that's really a big deal at this point in time. I suspect it isn't. These things are designed to get pretty hot. So again, let's see. It was 1 minute to 10 when I lit it, when I sat the boiler on top of the flames. Let's see how long it takes to steam, if indeed it will steam. My guess is that it will. It's ideal weather for this. 9th of October, a beautiful sunny still day, so the meth flame isn't being blown around all over the place, nice and calm, and the boiler has started to slightly warm up, so it's going to take a wee bit of time. I'm not in any rush. It's not about super speed and efficiency for me, this. It's about, well, the beauty of it really. So that's nice. That flame, now that the wicks have kind of settled into a groove, that flame has centralised itself really quite nicely into the bottom of the boiler, and the body of the boiler is getting hot now. I touched it a wee while ago and it's hot. Next time I touch it, I'll probably with gloves on. Another thing is that when I blow it off the steam this time, because I'm increasingly confident that it's going to steam okay on this. This is a very hot flame. When I release the steam out of the steam outlet valve, I'm going to do it slowly. In the last video I opened it right up and let it blast out, and it was great fun, but someone told me that it's not particularly good for a boiler to do that. I am advised that copper boilers are more forgiving of that than steel boilers are, but still it's not a brilliant practice. So I shall bear that in mind next time. But as for this meths, I'm kind of liking it. It pleases me. It takes me back to my childhood, but on a slightly bigger scale than the Mamod that I used to use. "8 minutes in, and you can see the first beginnings of the first creep upwards of the pressure gauge, and the first small amounts of steam coming out of the valve. I don't think my camera is focusing very well right now, but first small amounts of steam are coming out of the safety valve. I don't know how accurate that pressure gauge is. I suspect not very, but it does give an indication obviously, and it's now reading about 25 psi, and some definite splutterings going on from the safety valve here. This is good. Pressure's climbing quite quickly now, and I suspect it's going to, valve's reading almost 50, and the pressure gauge, the gauge is reading almost 50, and the safety valve's meant to blow off at 45, but whether it does or not I don't know, but last time it was more than 45 on the gauge that's on the boiler now that the valve blew off. But basically I'm kind of hoping we can catch the blow off, because it's very fun indeed. There we go. I bet the camera jumped there. There's some plume of steam. Wow! Right, time to take the burner off and release the steam. Now push the burner out from underneath the boiler, and I'm just going to put my gloves on and release the steam from the steam outlet valve. A gentler release today, because that's what you're supposed to do apparently. It's wonderful. Give it a little bit more than that though. What's the gauge doing? It's dropping, slowly but surely. Probably losing pressure now, but I'm sure that if that had stayed on the fire with water being pumped in every now and again, it would without any problem drive a nice, decent sized little engine. Well, how long did that take? I would say it was about 9 or 10 minutes from start to finish. Not too bad, I reckon. And that is how much methylated spirits were left within the tin. Quite a lot. We've used, I would say, just under an inch of meth there, about 2 centimetres. Which I think, you know, to my inexperienced mind, is pretty good, really. So overall, I'm impressed. This went better than I thought it would, and unless down the line any reasons emerge to the contrary, I would say now that I've got no hesitation in saying that I can see me using meths as one of the ways in which I'll fire this boiler in the future. Cheers for watching. See you later. Over and out.